Good afternoon, everyone. So I know that post-lunch sessions are a bit heavy, so we'll try to keep it more relatable. So we are all from tech and AI background, but we'll try to keep it more on the business side, right? More on the use cases, so that you can relate more from your own business perspective as well as the skill requirement from a resourcing HR strategy perspective and all. So with that, let me introduce the panel members. So from the left, we have Sunil Sarath. He's SVP and Global Head for Microlands. So he's heading the cloud applications, IT, infrastructure, workplace services. So it's more of a tech domain. But some interesting fact, he is also into the short film, filmmaking, more of a hobby or maybe a professional as well, because he's also won awards from the Karnataka government on this. Please welcome Sunil. So in the middle we have Rahul Pandey. So he was my ex-colleague in Mahindra. So currently he's heading the data science and applied AI practice in C5I. So again, some interesting fact about him is he's won 2 times 40 under 40 data scientist award. So very young, dynamic leader, almost 15 years into the industry. Please welcome Rahul. And finally, the Krishna. So he is heading the India operations of the GCC for Orange Business Services. So global capability center, more from business as well as tech. So we have some more business background coming in here. So hopefully we'll justify with all. So again, some interesting fact about himself. He mentioned that he's also having some farming background and chartered account background. So non-techie background to now becoming a techie. So please welcome Krishna. So with that, let me get into the topic itself. So we have the topic of harnessing the power of AI, right? AI in getting the best business outcome. So we'll start with how AI relates to the business strategy. So then the question comes into the investment side of it. Right? So business strategies always needs to be justified with ROI justification. So question to you, maybe I'll start with Sunil, you. So what is your view on how the companies can go about with the right AI approach with which they can relate how the business strategies are driven, how to ensure the business outcomes. So please.
Yeah, that's a good question, Guru. The thing that I would say is don't start with AI, right? Start with the business problem. So I was talking to a CAO last week. He came and told me, look, Sunil, I have a budget approved for AI. What do I do with it? That's a wrong question. I told him, don't start there. Ask yourself what are your business use cases. Then he said, how do I get to my business use cases? That's a big challenge. I said, ask 3 simple questions. Question number 1, what takes most of your time today? Right? Question number 2, what do you think you could do better? Question number 3, what seems impossible for you today? Now, if you answer these questions, you get use cases. From 1 to 3, it is in the order of increasing complexity. So the first one will liberate your workforce from repetitive tasks. The answer to the second question will give you use cases where you can augment the intellect of your existing workforce. Third answer will give you unforeseen, business avenues, right? So he said, give me some examples. So I said, first, for example, if you are, since we are in the HR forum, I'll take some HR related examples. If your recruiters are spending a lot of time screening candidate resumes, you can outsource that to AI, right? So that's taking up a lot of their time, so they can focus more on candidate interactions, which needs more personal touch. The second thing is, examples could be if I take IT support, you know, predictive analytics can help solve incidents, faster, right? Third thing is, if you take a pharma company, today they are able to come up with a lot of new drugs, unheard of combinations, because they're able to leverage AI to do those kind of experimentations, right? So those are the three questions that you can ask to get the kind of business cases that you're looking for. That's the first point. Start with business use cases, business problems. Don't start with AI. The second one is, again, once you identify the use case, don't do broad-based AI rollout in your organization. It's not that if you have a, let's say, 50 lakh budget for AI, don't take all the 50 lakh and start rolling out all the use cases, even if you have identified them. I would say rollout basis what I call outcome-based scaling, which is pick up use cases, define KPIs, and roll out basis the outcomes that you have got in the previous use cases. So it's gradual. Don't do a big bang, broad-based rollout for AI. That's the second part. Third part I would say is AI should never be driven by technologists, be it a CIO, be it a CTO, or any other tech guys. It has to be driven by the businesses, supported and enabled by the tech teams. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, well said. So yeah, I completely agree. So it has to be a top-driven business initiative than a tech initiative. Otherwise, again, some interesting fact, right? So only 10 to 15% of the AI projects go into a scale-up. Otherwise, rest either fail or they only remain as a POC. So the problem with not coming up with a business strategy linked business initiative, that it will eventually fade away, right? So that's a risk. So anything you want to share about how to go about ensuring the AI investments are linked to the business strategy, and any views you want to share?
No, I think what just mentioned was absolutely right. I just want to compliment. Initially we also did a lot of mistakes. Everyone is on AI, so we also invested heavily on multiple use cases, and different use cases are at different level of maturity. But then we realized it's a waste of money. And then we thought, I think our top three problems are, I think we being a telecom digital company, struggling with top line, bottom line, and customer experience. So these are three very, very high level. I think every industry, I think is focusing. So being a European company, we were definitely struggling into revenue because of Ukraine war and all. And then we realized we have 200,000 customers, how to get more revenue, how to sustain, how to collect more. And then we realize, I think we have 200,000 customers. Let's find out in our contract whether there is a inflation clause. And then simple small use case with a contract reading, we analyzed, we found out that 25% of our contract have an inflation clause, and we are not collecting. And then with a small, I think, investment, we are able to collect 5-6 times revenue. And now 75% of our contract now we change. So I think looking at a higher level problem, and then you go a little more deeper into what AI or what this machine learning can help you. I think that approach obviously will work. So I think just to complement, focus on business problem, and automatically I think these new age tools can help you achieving those much quicker, faster.
I mean, just to build on what was just shared, is when we talk about contracts, there is an interesting fact. Like, I've been working with some of the large fintech companies, investment banks, and like every time they're doing a contract with an energy firm or energy company, they have to go through a lot of documents and contracting. And the fear of the investment banker is to miss that one important clause, which has been highlighted in multiple places. So what we have been doing for that particular customer of ours is that we worked with them to first read all the contracts, first digitalize all the contracts they have had in the past, and then read those contracts and then focus on which clauses in the past have highlighted issues. And when you do that, what happens is the moment you are creating a contract, it can suggest that in past, these contracts or these clauses have seen potential issues. And this is the power of AI when you start looking at from a business monetization point of view, because monetization is not about how you can make money, it's also about how you can save money. If you have the right clauses in place, you can save a lot of money in downstream processes. So that is also one of the use cases where I have seen direct business implications. And when we started off with this customer, they had a very, very simple way of asking us, hey, look, we want to do something in AI, and here is a huge pile of documents, and these are our contracts. Can you do something with it? And then, like doing something with the document came maybe 3 weeks down the line, but first 3 weeks, we had to first understand what kind of documents, what these documents contain, and what are the important places to look for. Because when we talk about any AI algorithm, like name entity recognition. So for example, if we're talking about that AI aspect, it needs to understand that what I have to look for before it can start giving you the right suggestions. So we have to put the guardrails first, and then we can define that what it can solve. So start with business question, but also understand your data first, because you can have a business question, but if you don't have the right data, you will never be able to match the two outcomes.
Yeah, completely agree. So one way to do that in Tata Power, what we have is a cycle. Every year there's a strategy cycle, right? So that is, I think most of the companies have. That is a best starting point to start. And that's the best way to also isolate AI, to remove the bias. Because typically what we have seen is people straight away jump into, I want to do an AI project. Doesn't start from there. It has to start from a strategies. That's what you guys are saying. You convert that into a data problem, then it can be solved by an AI, it can be solved by a IT intervention, it can be a simple application or digital intervention.
What we struggle with is that we try to fit solutions first into the problem. And that's where we lose the battle. Because what we are trying to do is that we already have in mind, okay, I have seen one of my colleagues who used to work with me so and so place, or who was my college friend, and now he is excelling. I saw him speaking in a conference. He said something. I need to do that in my org. No, that's the wrong approach. You do not need to do anything which anyone is speaking. What you need to understand is what is your organization is struggling with, and do you have the right information and data for it? Once we strike a perfect balance, which is never the case. When I say perfect balance, it's a resonance between what we want and how we want to take it forward, right? So if you strike a balance between this is what I want and this is where I want to be, you start looking into data. Sometimes you will not have data, you will have to build data. So your use case you identify today, but data you have to collect, and that use case will come into picture around a year later or 6 months later when you have the right data set to actually complement it.
True. So let's deep dive little bit into some of the business strategies, right? So you mentioned some example on the contract, yes, right? So let's cover supply chain as a entire gamut, right? Krishna, you have a lot of background in the supply chain. So what are some of the AI interventions which are influencing or shaping the supply chain strategies?
Yeah, I think a very good question. Post-COVID, I think supply chain becomes so important. I think earlier supply chain was just logistics, but now it become a real core part of your entire business. Maybe I want to give you a couple of examples of supply chain, how important and use cases related to supply chain. One is of our own organization. We sell 99.999% uptime to being a connectivity company. So it is so important that if any connectivity goes down to any factory or data center, I think whole impact is on their business. So the role of supply chain is become so important that any part or any any spare part needs to reach to the factory or where devices are there is so critical. So from that perspective, I think importance of supply chain, data, the planning, procurement, everything end to end, your coordination with 3PL, 4PL, 5PL logistics company becomes so important. So from that perspective, now I think with AI, with automation, I think it becoming very, very robust. And then now I think another simple example, if you correlate quick commerce within 10 minutes, I just want to give you an example. I'm in Delhi, and it was peak of winter, and I thought I need a heater. And with the quick commerce, I was able to get in 8 minutes the heater installed in my service apartment. So that kind of supply chain transformation, and with this data, the connected processes made a huge difference. Another, I think, very interesting success story, which is also related to a little bit of supply chain, is Minimalist. I think you have heard a skincare brand which becomes so popular and hit in just 4 years, and then it become a 3,000 crore acquired by HUL. But the logic behind that, obviously simple, they copied certain things, they are so transparent, but supply chain played also a very, very important role. The user behavior played a very, very important role in that whole success story of 4 years and 3,000 crore organization. So I think point here is nowadays it's not just a business strategy, but every element of your customer journey become a very important role, and supply chain played a important role.
Yeah, true. So whether it's a manufacturing industry or a service-oriented, consumer-facing, everywhere, supply chain comes into picture, and it's very broad. Demand forecasting or inventory, logistics, end to end.
I think when we talk about supply chain, let's understand, of course, everyone has talked about the disruptions we have seen our way around COVID challenges and everything. But what happens next is important. So what we need to understand is that today we may talk about connected supply chain. We may talk about a lot of things, like you just mentioned, demand planning, inventory planning, and everything. What happens is, as a company, somewhere we, not always, not everywhere, but we lose focus that data is something which needs to be democratized a lot more than we are doing today. Today I am the inventory owner. You need to come to me if you have any questions. Maybe, somewhere down the line it needs to be, here is the inventory data. Can you help me manage my inventory better? The more we lean towards that democratization of the data, that's kind of gonna give real wings to connected supply chain. Because what's gonna happen in near future is that we are talking about, Gen AI, we are talking about agentic AI. All these ecosystems will come together. They will be very, very common factor and common part of our connected supply chain ecosystem, not for us to make decisions, but to get the right recommendations and make sure that we are not missing any important component. Let me just give a very quick example. I was working for a very big tech company as a consultant, and we saw that their shipping charges or, the shipping bills were too high. And when we started looking deep into it, what happened is that they have a manufacturing facility overseas, but all these storage facilities are within United States. Now, when you have a manufacturing facility overseas and you have all these storage facility within United States, suddenly, say, a large order comes in where someone needs 10,000 laptops or 10,000 hard drives. What will happen in that case? You cannot rely on your traditional ground-to-ground transportation, which is usually by ship, which takes 14 to 18 days. Now, you've taken into account when you have done your inventory planning, but if you've not taken into account one salesman going and promising that I am going to deliver this to you within 10 days. And what it does is it disrupts everything, each calculation you have done, just because your shipping cost now is by air. And that disrupts the entire ecosystem. So we can talk about connected supply chain, we can talk about all these ecosystems coming together.
Yeah, so can you add a little bit on the manufacturing, because that's also related,
Yes.
right? Manufacturing strategy, what AI interventions are helping?
Absolutely. So let me put it in this way. When we talk about orders, right, usually we look at orders of, let's say, a general manufacturing, tech manufacturing company will have multiple spare parts. And if we talk about, say, a laptop company or we talk about a tech company, what we see is that certain components are reusable components. Now what we do is that every component owner is doing their demand planning based on the historic results and everything. But what we miss is that sometimes we have to depend upon alternates, right? What we have to understand is that not only one part which is designated part for a particular thing will play its role. So what we have seen is a lot of value we have added to our partners is by identifying what are the most similar parts which could be used in these particular situations. For example, if you want to, at the end of the day, it's all about assembly in any manufacturing process, right? So if you have all the components ready, it is quite possible that you want to create something and all the components are not with you. Then connected supply chain or generative AI, how it can help is, the moment you write a very simple query is that I'm trying to create this, but my inventory shows that I'm out of this. What is the best thing? Now you don't have to go and talk to 10 specialist or a strategist to make that happen. It's gonna give you recommendation and it's gonna give you all the possible combination. You have these parts sitting at this location, these spares coming from here. If you have to bring it all together, maybe a central location is this, and that's how you solve for it.
Yeah, and application is quite huge because in manufacturing, quality also comes into picture. So it need not be just the generative AI or any broad AI ML topic, but let's say image analytics, real-time video analytics. So there are huge applications in manufacturing, especially Industry 4.0, data twin, right? So it's a very broad segment in itself. But maybe, moving to another topic now. So let's say most talked about domain is customer, right? So we started with supply chain, manufacturing, everything then comes and links to customer. So customer experience is not just some point of contact or a customer interaction, but let's say, Sunil, so you have quite a lot of experience in this domain. So if you can cover a little bit on the customer experience, how AI investments and AI interventions are re-innovating this domain.
So when people talk about AI in customer experience, the first thing that comes to one's mind is chatbot, right? But let me tell you, that doesn't improve your customer experience. When you're looking at customer experience, in my view, one should not look at AI as point solutions. It could be chatbot, it could be automation. Don't look at AI as point solutions, but look at AI, orchestrated AI ecosystem. Of course, the foundation is data, like Rahul was talking about, but look at orchestrated AI ecosystem to solve the customer experience problem. Why? Again, since this is HRD Congress, let me flip this a bit and talk about employee experience as well. Most of the organizations have implemented chatbots for, let's say, what are my benefits? What is the HR policy? To answer such questions, a lot of organizations have implemented bots. But the employees are not satisfied. Employees are not elated saying, hey, I have a bot with which I can chat. Why? The reason is that you are just answering his queries. You don't understand his needs, right? Unless stated. So that is where we need to get more predictive, right? Look at predictive analytics, look at personalization, add these two, predictive analytics and personalization. And then I'll just give an example. Morning, Ganesh was talking about, he touched upon a bit. He talked about how can employee promotions, employee appraisals be sort of automated, and become more predictive. Saying, I'll just go a little detail into this. Let's say I am working as an employee and I'm not getting promoted for 3-4 years. Of course, I accuse HR, I accuse my manager, everybody. But the point is, and I don't get convinced by any of the answers that were given. But what if there is an AI system that tracks my progress, that identifies the lacuna in my own learning, in my own skills, and then suggests to me, hey, if you want to move to the next level, these are the trainings that you need to take. And here is the mentor that I can connect you to. Here are the online trainings that are available. And then you can move to the next level. If it can tell me that, that is an AI that is useful for me as an employee.
Yeah, very true, very true.
I think what I would like to say when it comes to customer, as we were talking I think Raman Nanda, he did mention it that everyone has opinion on AI and everyone has opinion on HR. So when it comes to customer, I think it holds true there as well. Because people, when they are looking at customer experience, what they try to do is that they try to replace existing systems with AI. My question is why you want to replace everything with AI, or why you want to take that route? Maybe the right way of looking at it is how AI can help you understand that what are the needs of your customer, to his point, and then work from there to find the right business problems, as we were talking earlier, to talk about how we can actually make a difference in the current customer experience by leveraging information we have through AI. I think that's the right way of looking at it, not as having a AI as a solution to all our customer problems or customer queries.
Anything you want to add, Krishna?
No, I
On
think
the customer experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's overall looking at, I think, in the interest of time.
Sure, sure. So, but maybe let me also cover a topic of a lot of interest nowadays today, generative AI, right? Because, that's where the prompt engineering, business plays a big role. So it is not just about the very tech, vector DB, RAG, agentic AI and all, but yeah, these are all the new developments. So what is happening in this domain and how the business skills should be leveraging and plays what role?
Yeah, maybe I think I can add. I think everyone, each and everyone in the organization, from top to bottom, they want their employees, they want everyone to adopt, learn. So, which is no-brainer. I think everyone is doing that. But how effectively that is done and getting value is most important. Whoever is able to get that, I think, will be great. So, just want to share a couple of best practices where you can really measure the value. So few things we also learned through our hard way. But now we have, I think we have given everyone a 10 euro, being a European company, that use as much as you want on that, and then automatically it get deducted. And then there is a competition. So now we have almost 35% of our people are using. And then we started a replication challenge. If you are able to do something best and able to replicate and demonstrate that you replicated, you get a, I think, great reward, recognition, as well as many more things. That way, I think it started, and now we have started seeing some result, not in a significant way, but it's a competition started, and maybe I think time will tell.
Maybe just to finish on this topic, what I want to say is that when we talk about all these tech and jargons, I believe we all have seen that these things will keep coming and going, and the right way of looking at this is that how much of that is needed for you to stay relevant. Because we, in earlier sessions, we have discussed about, jobs being replaced and everything. So what I want to bring focus back is, let's not look at from the jobs being replaced or any other aspect which is towards an aspect where we don't want to learn. Let's inculcate a habit of learning, not from an aspect of doing and, going out and coding like a data scientist. But the idea here is to understand that what is out there and what can augment my work. And to your point, Guru, when we talk about generative AI and large language models, I think all these large language models in one way or other are proving to be a facilitator. And we need to just make sure that we use them as facilitator. Somewhere down the line, I believe a lot of chat which I'm seeing is or the challenges I'm seeing is because people have lost sight of them being enabler. They're trying to use them as, the end means. So that's not what AI or tools are there for. They're there to help you accelerate process. First, be there and then keep yourself relevant for the next thing which is coming.
So, yeah, maybe one last question. I'm getting a constant reminder, but I think both of you also have the cloud background. So, and it plays a big role in defining the AI strategies, or AI strategies defining the cloud strategy. So, anything that you want to share, Sunil and then Krishna, on cloud, the relation, how AI plays a role there?
Yeah, I'll just take 30 seconds, okay? Cloud and AI today are not two different things. Again, I'm going back to my earlier point. They are not point solutions. There is AI for something and cloud for something. Again, look at cloud and AI as an integrated strategy, right? Be it for FinOps, which is the cost management aspect that you talked about. Be it scalability. Today, talking about scalability, people talk about scale up, scale down. You need to look at scale smart, right? It's not about scaling up and down, but scaling smart. For example, if there is a demand that is foreseen in Asian countries, you spin up resources in Asia, right? And then also you can look at innovation. If you look at cloud and AI as an integrated strategy, you will sort of enable the flywheel effect, right? You innovate, you save money, you cut costs, save money, and invest in innovation. And also, because of the scalability, you don't have any constraints growing your business.
Anything you want to add? Okay. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up. But one important point, maybe for all of us to introspect, is also the AI culture to be building in the organization. Because so I am personally heading the digital academy in Tata Power, and I've seen, how the academies build the data literacy and try to get the best outcome out of from the business also, because business has to play a dual role. It's a joint effort. It's a co-development. Any AI initiative and having some kind of an academy training plays a big role. So that is something the HR folks can also pick up. So with that, I think our time's up. So I don't know whether we can take any question from the audience. If there are any, maybe
let's open this for one question, if anyone has. We as an Indira group of institute is now getting into private university. And the theme which we are having for our university is sustainability. So if I would like to ask a question to you, that would be, will AI help you in terms of tracking sustainability metrics, or maybe optimize energy consumption, or maybe ensure compliance with environmental, social, and governmental standards? Something on that?
Yeah, definitely. So what we have in Tata Power is the ESG, right, group. So it's a combined environment, sustainability, safety. So we all put together, have certain goals. The company has goals, and definitely their AI plays a role there. But most of the companies, this is a new, comparatively new topic. So the data itself is not present in many of the organizations. So the companies are building in sensors and other data from where they can get the real-time data, right? So the weather, carbon footprint, everything needs to be tracked, and then it has to be linked with the reporting for the government organization. So this is where the large effort today happening on the data front. And once you have the data lake or the base foundation built, I think there will be a lot more AI intervention happening in future. Maybe India is starting, more developments might have happened in outside India, if anybody wants to add.
Yeah, I think in manufacturing sector, a lot of things which we see in ESG is about AI suggesting where ESG can play a role. Let me give you an example. We were working for one of the largest pet food production companies, and what we found out is that their own division of snacking was doing a bigger initiative on sustenance, which was more of using paper packages, and that was not still being moved to the other department. And when they were running their algorithm to find out all these scores and everything. It was flashed in one of their internal meeting that, a suggestion has come up through the AI bot, which says that in your own organization, there are initiatives which could be replicated and we could hit our, targets on KPI, whether it is reducing the footprint or reducing the wastage, everything. So somewhere down the line, as I said, if we look at from a tool which can give us right suggestions, if we look at from an augmentation perspective and we built it the right way, starting with the business problem. In this case, your problem is how can I use AI to keep informed decision on sustainability, and that is by defining the large language model and setting the barriers right. So if you do that, it can definitely keep on giving you inputs. Now taking those inputs and actioning upon it depends upon how well the org goals are aligned to those aspects during that period.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to this young and dynamic panel members. Thank you for all your inputs. And it's time now to felicitate you with a memento from the organizers' side.